Welcome to the third episode of Sports Talk. I'm your host, Cody Paris, and today I do not have a co-host. I'm Ryan Sutton. Today I'm gonna talk about the Wilder Fury fight for a few seconds right now. Fury beat Wilder. I don't know anything about that, that's all I can say. Um, I'm gonna, I mean, for the NBA, some top headlines are Lakers Celtics today at 12:30 Pacific time. Hopefully, I can get my upload out by then. Hopefully. And Jaren Jackson Jr. sprained his knee last night. Dwayne Wade's jersey was retired last night. The Rockets continue to win with this terrible no big man team. If you're telling me the Warriors played small ball with Draymond at center, then it's not. I don't think it's gonna work. Okay, so I'm gonna do the power rankings by conference because I don't want to do it by the whole NBA. The worst team in the East, I think, is the Chicago Bulls. They are sliding. Like, they only lose games by an average of 3 points, but they've lost 8 in a row, and they just seem to be really cold. Zach LaVine is very not happy there, and I think trading him from the Timberwolves really made him realize that he hasn't been on a winning team his entire career. Next, I got Cleveland. They're losing games by an average of 9 points. If you lose consistently by 9 points, you're not a very good basketball team. They did add Andre Drummond, so that's a plus. I would have put them at the bottom if they didn't, but they did. So, bravo. Next, I got the New York Knicks. They also lose by 7 points. If you lose by more than 2 points at your point differential, then you are not a good basketball team. This team's losing games by 7 points. They've lost 3 in a row. I don't really even see any talent on that team. There's not much. RJ Barrett, besides RJ Barrett. Next, I'll go with Detroit. Detroit is on a 5-game skid. And they're only losing games by an average of 3 points, so that's not that bad considering how bad their record is. The Blake Griffin's injured. They just traded Andre Drummond. They bought out Reggie Jackson. All 3 of their best players from last season are all either injured or gone. 2 of them are gone and 1 of them's injured. So I think Blake's gonna either request a trade or kind of drift out of the NBA. Next is the Atlanta Hawks. They are on a 2-game winning streak. Trae Young is playing like a monster, but they're losing games by an average of 8 points. Can't be doing that, but Trae Young looks amazing, so I'm going to give it to them. And they are this third best non-playoff team that I picked. Next up is the Charlotte Hornets. Everybody thought this team was going to be terrible, and they haven't been good, but they haven't been as bad as everybody thought they were going to be. Their point differential is bad. It's worse than the Pistons and Bulls, and I don't think they have as much talent as the Bulls or the Hawks or the Cavs. But they're playing at a higher level, and that's really all that matters in basketball. If you play at a high level, you can win games. So, this is the last non-playoff team, the Washington Wizards. I could honestly see this team sneaking into the playoffs. They could beat out the Magic, I think. The Wizards are always in close games. They always are in high-scoring close games. They just need to get some good defenders. Not like trade, but they just need to play better defense, I guess. The trade deadline has passed, so they can't really get any good defenders this season. But, with Isaiah Thomas gone, he's kind of a defensive liability, especially if you get a pick and roll switch, it's kind of over. So, The first playoff team is the Orlando Magic. They have a negative point differential, and they're a playoff team. Playoff teams do not have negative point differentials. So, I mean, their last 10 games, they're 3-7. This team is not good. If they stay the 8th seed, they're gonna get swept by the Bucks in the playoffs. And if they don't, I mean, the Wizards are gonna get swept by the Bucks. I don't see a team here except for maybe Brooklyn. If they fall, that won't get swept by the Bucks. Oh, that is true. Kyrie Irving is out for this season. So actually, never mind. Actually, no, I think they play better without Kyrie Irving. Next up is the Indiana Pacers. They are winning games, but they're not like they were winning games, but now they're not. Victor Oladipo's back. Victor Oladipo's back, but they're 3-7. They're in the same boat as the Orlando Magic. They are up there, but I don't think they can beat Boston, who they're set to play in the playoffs right now. Well, actually, I know they can't beat Boston, Toronto, or Milwaukee, and I doubt they could beat Miami or Philadelphia. Next is Brooklyn. They lost Kyrie Irving, so that obviously sucks, but I think they play better with Spencer Dinwiddie at point guard. And because he's a great scorer, he's a good passer. He's not like Kyrie, he's not selfish. He's a good teammate. So I think this team they're rising. They're 7-3 in the last 10. So they're definitely rising, and I think this team could surprise some people in the playoffs, maybe. Next is Miami. Miami's the 4 seed. They're set to play Philadelphia, but I don't like the matchups that Miami gets against Philadelphia. That's why. Miami, they get a few good matchups. Kendrick Nunn on Ben Simmons, I think that's a good matchup. And I think Jimmy Butler versus Josh Richardson will also be a good matchup. But I think Embiid would outplay Bam Adebayo in a playoff series. I don't think Bam Adebayo's been to the playoffs in his entire career. But I don't know. It's really tough to play in Philly. It's also really tough to play in Miami. These two teams have lost a combined 5 games at home. And they both suck on the road. So, it's kind of a toss-up. It's just, I think Miami will pull it out, but they're not doing so hot right now. So, I'm going to pick Philly over them. Next is Philadelphia. And the same thing goes. They're amazing at home. They suck on the road. That's why their record's so eh. If they're like 5 games better on the road, then I'm looking at Philadelphia probably beating Miami in the playoffs. Remember, this is right now. So I think in a playoff series, Miami would win. But right now, if they played a playoff series, I think Philadelphia would come out on top because playoff experience and like the home team is going to win the series for this series. Unless the Pacers jump the Sixers in the standings or if Philly jumps Miami. In that case, I think it switches. Next is Toronto. I haven't gotten a chance to watch a lot of their games this season. Remember, this is the East, not the NBA. But I think Pascal Siakam's obviously playing at a high level, and I think Kyle Lowry is a very... No, this is not the entire NBA. It's just the Eastern Conference. So, the Toronto Raptors, I don't see them making too deep of a playoff run without a true superstar. I think Pascal Siakam's entering the true superstar realm, but I don't think he's there yet. That's why Kawhi had to will them into the finals and help them win it. Next is Boston. They're loaded with talent. They acquired Kemba Walker. Jason Tatum was an all-star. Kemba Walker was an all-star. Jaylen Brown's playing well. The only really dark spot on the team is kind of center, but I think they'll be fine there in the playoffs. They're set to play Indiana, and I think they'll win that playoff series pretty well. Next is the Bucks. They're the best team in the East. They might be the best team in the NBA. He's been playing recently, but he was out for a few games due to the birth of his child. That's cool. But otherwise, I don't see anybody competing with the Bucks in the East for the 1 seed at least and into the playoffs. Next, we're going to the Western Conference, and obviously the worst team is the Golden State Warriors. Stephen Curry is eyeing his return on March 1st. That is in 6 days. So, I mean, I don't see why he would come back because the team sucks. But nonetheless, obviously next season Klay Thompson will be back. I think Draymond Green will be back, and who knows? They are set to get the number 1 pick right now. And if I were the Warriors GM or Steve Kerr, I'd draft James Wiseman. He has some off-the-court problems, but on the court, he's a pretty good center, and he's kind of a beast. Next, I got Minnesota. Minnesota and Golden State and all the non-playoff teams in the East are in this realm of terribleness. Even the Magic aren't that good. So, and they are a playoff team. So I think Minnesota, they just got D'Angelo Russell, but they seem to be playing worse. Cat did break his wrist, Karl-Anthony Towns, so he'll be out. But this gives D'Lo a chance to know his teammates, because he knows Cat. They're friends. I think that's why he wanted to be on the same team with him and Devin Booker. But next up, I'm going to go with Sacramento. I haven't gotten the chance to watch their games at all, because they're not very good, I don't think. I mean, De'Aaron Fox, I haven't heard much about him, so he clearly isn't playing at a very high level. Buddy Hield won the 3-point contest, and I think that's the best thing that's happened to them all season. They haven't done much. Next up is the San Antonio Spurs. I also haven't heard much about the Spurs. DeMar DeRozan wasn't an all-star. They haven't really been their normal. The Spurs, they're not going to make the playoffs. The biggest contender to get the Grizzlies out of the playoffs are the next 2 teams I'm going to mention. Which leads me to them. The Portland Trailblazers are next. Damian Lillard's injury really is hurting them a lot. And I think they might skid all 5 games that he's out. Except for maybe the Pistons game tonight. But the Blazers aren't playing at a very high level without Damian Lillard. Damian Lillard is the reason this team wins games. But this team has been fought over with injuries. When Jusuf Nurkic comes back, and Zach Collins comes back, and few people are coming back in early to late March, I think this team might make a very strong push and go to the playoffs. I don't think they can beat LA, but if they can sneak up on Dallas, like if Dallas skids a little bit, I know they can beat Denver because they did it last season. But that's the only team. I think maybe they could upset LA, the Lakers, but I don't see them beating the Clippers. I think that's the highest they'll go. I don't even think they'll make it near 6. But if the Mavericks skid and Luka keeps on getting hurt, and they go down to 8, and Portland makes it up to 7, I think you could see a Blazers-Clippers matchup in the second round. But nonetheless, the worst or the best non-playoff team in the entire league is New Orleans. They're playing at a higher level than the Blazers. And Zion Williamson has lived up to most of the hype. He's playing really well. I mean, obviously him and Ja. I mean, Ja played the entire season, so I think Ja has the upper hand in the Rookie of the Year race. But Zion and Brandon Ingram was an all-star, and I think Zion, if he played the way he did before the all-star break, could have been an all-star. Next is Memphis. They're the worst playoff team. Not as bad as Magic or Nets, but they're the worst playoff team in the West. Ja Morant is willed this team because they were very good last year. They got the number 2 pick, obviously. But Ja Morant is the reason, and Jaren Jackson, that this team wins a lot of games. They're 500. Dillon Brooks is also very good, and so is Jonas Valanciunas. But I feel like it's mostly Ja Morant and Jaren Jackson who is now hurt. But I don't really have much to say about them. I haven't seen them play much, so I think the Blazers or Pelicans are going to catch up to them because the Pelicans have the easiest schedule in the NBA going forward. So I think if anybody's going to undercut the Grizzlies, it's going to be Portland or New Orleans. Next is Dallas. Luka and nor Porzingis have been playing very much, so I think this team might skid. They could miss the playoffs with how good the Western Conference is if the Blazers and Pelicans have a strong runs. But nonetheless, I think Luka will get it done. Next is the OKC Thunder. Everybody thought they were gonna win like 30 games. They already have surpassed that. They're 34-22, and Chris Paul only seems to be getting better by the month. And their team's just balanced. There's not one big superstar. I mean, Chris Paul could have been an all-star, or he was an all-star, but you know, they don't have one overarching superstar. It's a team effort. Next is Utah or Houston. Actually, yeah. Okay, I'm gonna give the tie. I say they're equal, but I'm gonna give the tiebreaker to Houston because they beat Utah last night. Utah is a team where if they're rolling, Joe Ingles is hitting 3-pointers, Jordan Clarkson's hitting threes, Donovan Mitchell's playing at a high level, and Rudy Gobert's blocking shots. They can win a lot, and they could play at a very high level, but that doesn't happen a lot. So I don't think they could beat the LA or Denver or the other LA team. I don't even know if they could beat the Mavericks or Thunder. I think they're in this spot where they need everybody to play well, and that doesn't always happen. So, next is Houston. They are 7-3 in their last 10 games, but they're not playing at a high level, and they have no center because they traded Clint Capella. And I don't think that's going to work in the playoffs. You play a team like Utah with Rudy Gobert the entire game. Rudy Gobert has to play at a very high level in the playoffs, and he needs to dominate if Utah is going to win. I don't think. Yeah, or if you play the Nuggets or Lakers, Jokic and Davis, they'll torch you. It's just not going to work in the playoffs. They had a cornerstone center. Clint Capella is a very good center. Now he's on the Hawks, and I think they're going to be in an upward trend the next 5 years. But I'm talking about this year, not 5 years from now. Next is Denver. I do not think they can compete in a playoff series versus either of the LA teams. The Clippers are very talented in the starting lineup, and on the bench, their bench is probably better than Golden State and Minnesota's starting fives. That's how deep they are, which is really tough to stop. Yeah, but I don't see Denver making it too far in the playoffs. I think they're a big regular season team, and they're going to be the 2 seed again. But if Portland or New Orleans sneak into the 7 seed, I think that an upset, and Denver could be gone just as fast as it rose up. Next is the LA Clippers. I don't know. With Kawhi Leonard sitting so much, they haven't really developed a lot of chemistry. I mean, there's not a lot of chemistry there, which means, I don't know. I feel like LeBron and AD and all them, they have a lot of good chemistry. And I feel like the Lakers are just a little bit more star-studded. With LeBron in the playoffs in 18 and 17, willed his team to the finals and scored 51 points in game 1 and still lost. In 2016, when they were coming back from down 3-1, who was instrumental in that? LeBron James. If LeBron needs to go MVP playoff hero mode, he's going to. So I just don't think I could see the Lakers losing to anybody unless it's Kawhi Leonard and the LA Clippers or Giannis and the Bucks. On to college basketball. I talked a lot about the NBA, but let's look at some college basketball. Last night was a huge night in college basketball. There is. Hold on. Yeah, so the bracket so far, I feel like Baylor, they just lost yesterday. San Diego State was handed their first loss yesterday. Gonzaga lost yesterday. San Diego State, if I didn't say it already, lost yesterday. Dayton won, Duke won, Florida State won, Kentucky won, Louisville won, Villanova won, Auburn won, Oregon won in overtime. TCU won in overtime. Upset. UCLA beat a good Colorado team. Providence beat a Marquette team that's ranked. And Precious Achiuwa beat Houston pretty much by himself. So, also this morning, Indiana upset number 9 Penn State. So, college basketball is crazy. It's exactly 3 weeks from Selection Sunday. So, I think it's going to be a pretty crazy March Madness. For NCAA Women's, I don't know if there's a team or a conference that's better than the than the Pac-12, not the Oregon Ducks. They have the Oregon Ducks, who are number 3. They have Stanford, who's number 4. They have UCLA, who's number 8. They have Arizona, who's 11. Oregon State, who's 15. And Arizona State, who's 21. I don't see a lot of teams being able to beat that. So the Pac-12 tournament's going to be crazy for both men and women's basketball. So, and I think the Oregon Ducks women's team will either lose to Baylor or win the championship. I don't see South Carolina as much as a threat as everybody else does. So, that's really it. That's all I got. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope I can get another one out this Thursday. I'll try to get another episode out. Maybe Tuesday if I'm lucky, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe Friday. We'll figure it out. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you all in the next episode.